Hello lacrosse fans, and welcome to our second episode of This Week in Lacrosse. We got quite a bit to talk about this weekend.
Yeah, we had a good weekend.
It was a great weekend. I'm Carol McKee, and I'm here with
Corey Mitchell.
We just had a great weekend here with the lacrosse jamboree.
Yeah.
Just was amazing, all the kids here and all the games, and you had guests from out of town. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what happened this weekend?
Saturday we brought all the new clubs from South Dakota, Aberdeen, Watertown, Brookings, Mitchell, Huron, and Sioux Falls, along with some of the reservation players to come together and play some games. Those players that played didn't have enough for a team, so we were able to make teams, play games with all the age groups, and just have a good day of lacrosse.
Yeah, they were having a lot of fun. And then we got a chance to visit with several players throughout the day when we got in here on Saturday late afternoon. I was really impressed with some of the raw talent that was just amazing. I think, what was his name? The McLeod boy from Huron.
Oh, Hayden. Yeah.
Hayden McLeod. Yeah. That guy is a special little player, you can tell.
He definitely has advanced.
And it was fun watching him.
Yeah.
And, you know, then wrapping it up, you guys did the presentation about the history of lacrosse. The three of you presenting, that was really neat.
That was exciting. We had a kind of a history lesson on the lacrosse. Some of the reasons why Native Americans have always played lacrosse. That's kind of as a form of medicine and to heal the sick. We actually played the Creators game for a couple of people at Dakota.
Yeah.
One of them.
Well, that was really nice because I did ask Caston Barrisdale if he would play for Dakota Case, a good friend of ours, and he was happy to do that, and said if he got to score, he was going to holler out Dakota's name. He came really close several times.
He came really close. He had a lot of fun though.
He did have a lot of fun, and we enjoyed visiting with him afterwards. So thanks again, Caston, for playing for Dakota. I know others of you out there were playing for Dakota as well, and that meant a lot to Dakota and his family.
Yeah.
So
nice. That's the great thing about this game is there's more to it than just playing games.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that was a different game because you had the two posts.
Yeah.
And we do have some footage up that Randy got on Saturday of the Creators game, where the goal is just everyone's trying to hit the post, and that's a score.
Yeah, it's a 4x4 post, and you're playing with people. Yeah, it's hard. It's very hard.
And they're beautifully decorated. Now, where did the posts come from?
Frankie Jackson from the Morton, Minnesota club brought them along. I don't know where they came from before that, or if they were as any special meaning or beside that, but yeah, they're quite heavy. So
yeah, they were really neat. And you had, I don't know how many people out there, but I loved watching the little ones, the little tiny ones out there, and just working just as hard as everybody else, and the dads and the coaches and the older people. You know, it was just a lot of fun watching everybody.
That's probably the greatest thing, is because whenever a young kid would get the ball, all the big kids would back off, and the adults would back off, and it would be just young kids against young kids. So everybody got to participate in the game. There was probably 50 or 60 people out there from ages 4 to 64, I suppose. And everybody had a chance to be engaged and play the game. It was great. It was awesome.
I think Emerson got a couple goals, didn't he?
Emerson had the game winner, actually.
The game-winning goal, yes. Yeah. And then, you know, the presentation that you did, you had Mr. Kip Spotted Eagle, excuse me. Kip Spotted Eagle talked a little bit about it. He's been involved down there with the Lightning Stick Society, and he talked a little bit about what they've been doing down there and the history.
Yeah. He has provided a lot of great leadership for the Lightning Stick Society. They've been doing camps for 5 years for the reservation clubs from Sisseton and just the region, Winnebago, Nebraska, Yankton, Sioux, and they do a camp every year in Murray, South Dakota. He's been leading that charge, and I learned a lot.
Yeah.
It was great. It was a great presentation.
Well, and his vision, and it's not only his vision, but a lot of the Native people that are involved with this new resurgence of lacrosse.
Yeah.
Their vision is to see it on every reservation in every community for the kids to play, and it was the kids that are playing it that I've visited with have been getting such great feedback and are feeling so good about themselves through playing the elder sport, basically.
Yeah, and that's an awesome side effect of what they're trying to do, and it's really giving them an outlet to work toward, and just it's been incredible.
Yeah. Well, it was really fun watching that. And then we also, you know, some of the traditional sticks. You have a I don't know what they call it, the lacrosse stick.
Traditional stick.
Yeah, okay, a traditional stick. Frankie Jackson, I know, had brought some of those in last time. And, you know, you were blessed with one of those as a gift.
Yes, he gave me one at the end of the day. It's kind of a thank you for all the efforts. And I was actually just asking if I could play around with one, and he gave one to me. So I thought that was incredibly generous. We've been having a lot of fun with that today with my boys, and even a couple of parents here just playing catch with it and trying to learn how to use it. And
a lot more of a challenge than using the sticks, the lacrosses that you have.
Yeah, if that's what they've been playing with, that would explain why they're so good.
Yeah, I get. And speaking of being good, you know, the Chanshayapi program has also really supported the growth of lacrosse in South Dakota.
Yes.
You know, they're coming over here. They've been going out and doing camps and helping. I think they've even got some funding support to provide equipment to some of the reservation programs.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that they had provided over 356 to youth players in the last few years.
Yeah, and I think that was the Shakopee tribe that provided the funding for that. So thank you to the Shakopee tribe and to Chanshayapi and Frankie and everybody there that are helping grow the sport here. You know, we've got the girls, you had a girls games. You know, that was a really nice thing. Now, we talked a little bit about girls games last week. We're going to talk a little bit more later on in the show about the girls game, but it was nice to finally have games for some of those girls.
Yeah, I think we were only able to get 5-on-5 games out there, and we used the Rage Cage mats for goalies. We tried goalies for the first game, and just to get a few extra subs and not wear them down so much, we just went with the Rage Cage mats. And they got a lot of playing time. They got a lot of running in, and they're tired and still sore today.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see finally the girls moving into lacrosse as well.
Yeah. Now you said Rage Cage mats?
Yeah, it's basically a mat we put on the front of the goal so that it acts as kind of a makeshift goalie. Yeah.
Okay, I remember seeing those before.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, there's a lot to be said for playing those smaller-sided games anyway.
Yeah.
Because everyone gets more opportunities to get contact and to get hold of the ball.
Exactly, and what was great too is one of our newest players, Abigail Katilnik, who's been playing for 3 weeks, had 2 goals on Saturday. So that's a great confidence booster for a 9-year-old girl.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really good that happened. Well, you know, I think we're going to see the sport continue to grow. Now, you guys are getting ready here with Sioux Falls Lacrosse to start your next session, right?
Yeah, we have another boys session starting July 13th for 6 weeks, and we'll just continue getting sticks in hands and doing a recreational format, playing some games, and just really trying to continue the introduction of lacrosse to as many people as possible.
Now, are there more and more kids that are starting to find out about it? Are you hearing about more kids learning about it?
Yeah, there's a lot of word of mouth that's going on. Some kids who've come to camp. We had a kid who came to our community education camp, and on that Friday night he had a sleepover, and his buddy who slept over signed up on Tuesday. So
it's
fantastic.
Fun.
That's Ryland Snyder had never seen it and decided to play it and jumped in with both feet. So.
Well, that's kind of the way it grows, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and you know, out in the hills, I think they're pretty much done with their season right now. Mm-hmm. I did have some conversations back and forth, and we're looking forward to talking a little bit more about the Black Hills Lacrosse program, because that's been going for a few years now.
Yeah, this is their 4th year, so they're a little more established. They have a girls program that I think is a little larger than what we have. Mm-hmm. I think they had about 20 to 24 girls this year.
Yeah.
And they even did some scrimmaging and took their girls to go play in Wyoming. Some teams.
I think they play teams in Wyoming quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, I've been emailing back and forth with Richard Sudmeyer, who's involved with the Black Hills Lacrosse out there, and we're going to do a Skype session or a Google Hangout or something to be able to include them in the show until we can get them here. We can get out there and do an episode. But we just want people to know that it's happening across the state, and it's a great opportunity for these kids to be involved at a ground level.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is important that it is going across the state, because the movement isn't just in Sioux Falls and Rapid City, it's everywhere. We're trying to really establish it as a youth sports offering for all the kids in South Dakota.
Well, and you said Huron, there were kids here from Huron.
Yep.
Kids here from Brookings. I got to visit with the girls coach from Brookings, Janet Merriman, and Heidi, her daughter, was playing. What a well-spoken young woman she is, a young girl.
Very well-spoken.
And she really knows what she's talking about when it comes to lacrosse, so it was fun visiting with her. And then you've got Mitchell's taking off now too, right?
Mitchell's taking off too. I think they had 3 kids come over for the Jamboree. They had a smaller program this year, but 3 were able to come over for the Jamboree on Saturday. The coaches weren't able to make it, but we'll get them over here too.
And then Watertown and Aberdeen are taking off as well.
Watertown had, I think, about 15 kids that came down.
That's awesome.
And they had 2 of their coaches come down.
Okay.
Adam Matheny, who drives down from Millbank to Watertown to help out with the program.
Oh, bless his heart.
And Jim Heflin, who actually drives up from Lake Poncet to Watertown to help with the program. So the coaches who travel up to an hour and a half for practices were also able to make it. So it was great.
That's amazing.
Brad Burdett from Aberdeen brought a few kids down, and they were able to participate as well. So really had pretty good showing from all the programs.
Yeah, well, I wish we could have talked with a few more of them while they were here. That was our plan, but
Yeah.
that heat on Saturday was a little rough for everybody.
That was a tough day to be out in the sun all day, but they were smiling nonetheless.
Yeah. So, anyhow, you wrapped up on Saturday, the Jamboree. You had all these games. You had high school age games. You had boys games in what, 9s?
U9, U11, U13, and then we had like a U15, U17 combined.
High school
Yeah.
kind of age combined.
Yeah.
And the high school Spark team actually got a nice win in on Saturday.
Yeah, every time that Sioux Falls Spark have played the Chanchayapi team, the games have been 1 or 2 goal games, and they've been a lot of finesse, a lot of skill, and really a lot of sportsmanship.
Yeah.
They battle hard, they play hard, but after the second game when Chanchayapi came out with the a goal with 45 seconds left to win the game,
Yeah.
a lot of the Spark players were down here hanging out with the Chanchayapi team. So that's a great thing to see.
Yeah. Well, pushing each other to get better. That's what they're doing out there.
Absolutely.
And having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a break, and we've got a special guest that we're going to be visiting with here, and we're going to talk a little bit more about girls lacrosse. Thanks for being with us on This Week in Lacrosse, and we'll hear from a few of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
You've worked hard all year. I need you to bring it, dig down deep today, because today, everybody plays.
Everybody plays.
Everybody plays.
Everybody plays.
Play. When we first learned to work together, it was through play. We learned social skills, give and take, freedom and teamwork through play. There's no age limit on play, no skill level required. Play It Again Sports knows play. We buy and sell new and quality used sports and fitness equipment for less, so everybody can play.
Come on, let's play.
You bet I will.
Now it's time to play.
Play It Again Sports.
Play It Again Sports.
Play It Again Sports.
The official sponsor of
All those that play.
Welcome back, folks, to This Week in Lacrosse. We're here with a special guest, Haley Pratt, one of your great finds, Corey.
Unbelievable find, yes.
Haley, we were enjoying watching you out there working with the girls tonight. Now, you've been working with the Sioux Falls Spark girls program, right?
Yes, that's right.
And how did you first get involved yourself with lacrosse?
With lacrosse, I got involved my sophomore year of high school. I'm from St. Michael, Albertville, Minnesota, which is about half hour northwest of the Twin Cities. And at that point, it wasn't that big yet. It was still, we had it in the major programs like Eden Prairie, Edina, Minnetonka, deep inside the Twin Cities. But where we were, it had been unheard of. We started as my high school gym teacher, Jill. She got together 7 to 8 girls who just wanted to pass the ball around and learn the basics of lacrosse. So we did that, and we actually got to go down and play in a Minnetonka in a summer league down there, and that was really cool. It got us really immersed in the lacrosse culture, learned a lot about it because a lot of our experience we learned being thrown into a game, not really knowing what we're doing. So we loved it so much. The next year, we started up Jill and the girls, we started up a club team. It wasn't school sanctioned, but we did play under the school mascot. So we did really, really well with that for 3 years, and when I graduated high school, I went back to coach there, the JV and varsity team, and the middle school program as well. And a few years coaching that, we did turn into a Minnesota State High School League team. So that was very exciting, getting to coach that. And I've also coached youth teams in Buffalo, Minnesota, just next door, and went on to play lacrosse for a few years at St. Cloud State University, where I played midfield.
So now, when was it that your program that you worked with in Albertville area became sanctioned?
That was in 2013. That was our first seasons as State High School League.
Okay, pretty amazing. And then, do you know when St. Cloud State added women's lacrosse?
That was in 2008 is when we started there, and we were always Division II NSLA. So yeah.
Wow, and play in the midfield, huh?
Yep, that's right. Defensive mid is my thing. But now playing here, I went last night, play with the Adults League Sunday night here, and it was really exciting to go play in defense, attack, midfield, play all around. So I like to float around, but midfield's my home.
Well, and the adult league is probably playing with men's equipment, men's rules, right?
Yes, that's right.
So how was the transition for you? Because what a lot of people don't realize, I didn't realize, is that girls lacrosse, women's lacrosse is a different sport.
It is. It really is. So it was tough for me. I'll be honest. I playing one game with them, I hadn't quite figured out the offensive and defensive strategy yet. But I just ran out. We had a good time, passed, played the ball, scored a little bit. But yeah, it is a totally different game, and that all begins with the contact that's allowed and what we have to wear.
Yeah. Well, the boys wear the pads, the shoulder pads, and kind of chest protection.
Yes.
They wear these helmets. Girls, and the boys wear the gloves.
Yes.
Girls wear these.
Yeah, we wear those, mouth guards, and the gloves are optional. The glove is kind of like a softball glove with a little rubber coating on the knuckles, but those are optional.
So they're smaller than these.
They
and
are.
Not quite as bulky.
Yes.
And what about other equipment? Did the goalies wear the helmet then?
Yep, that's a good question. The goalies do wear all full protective clothing that the boys do, and they actually wear protectors on their legs, so shin guards and padded pants to protect them as well, but everyone wears a mouth guard.
Okay, now when you look at some of the pictures of women's college lacrosse, they used to be wearing skirts a lot too.
Yep, yeah,
So-
it's the kilt. That is the traditional women's
kilt.
lacrosse
Okay.
kilt. It's just how it started. Lacrosse, when it came to the Americas from the women's game, it was really developed in the United Kingdom in that area in Scotland, and that's what they wore over there, and that's why it's pretty prominent today. I know a lot of girls, we had kind of talked about what uniforms we're going to wear down the road, and they're all like, no, we don't want to wear the skirt, but I always think it's traditional. That's cool. That's what I like to wear.
Well, and that's part of the tradition on the women's side. The men's side, there are other traditions on the origins of the game. So now the cross is different too, right?
It is, yep. Our pocket, and this all comes back to the contact that's allowed. So in women's, the pocket's a lot shallower. When the ball is in the crease or in the cross, it does have to be seen above eye level, above the sidewall there. So
And the boys, the pocket's way deeper.
it's a lot deeper, yeah, but that's just because they can check. So we can check each other's sticks, but we can't check bodies. So it's a lot more fast-paced game. There's a lot more running than checking, so the ball doesn't fly out of there as easily. So that's why we can have such a shallow pocket.
Okay. And so when you talk about checking the stick, it's just making contact with the stick. Stick to stick, right?
That's right, just stick-to-stick contact.
Okay. So no shoulder to shoulder, no getting the stick above your head.
Yeah, you can have the stick up there. There is no checking around your sphere, which is the visible 8-inch circle around your head.
An invisible 8-inch circle. Remember that when you play girls lacrosse, correct?
Yes, you can't check between the hands. You can only check where there isn't hands. So you can check the bottom of the stick. You can check on the shaft below the cross, and you can't check crossbody. You can't check towards the body. There's a lot of rules to it, a lot of finesse in it. So I like to tell a lot of girls, don't worry about checking your first game, just because refs, they're very concerned about safety and they want to make sure we're doing it right. So there's a lot of calls related to checking, but it's very limited.
Now what about footwear? The full line of equipment. What about footwear for girls lacrosse? Is it?
Yep, it depends. It depends what league you're in. A lot of leagues do require the cleat. It's just safer for your ankles. But if you're playing on turf, you may not need that. But either a tennis shoe or a cleat, just no spikes in your cleats.
And then the numbers on the field are different as well.
Yes, we have 11 on the field and a goalie.
Okay. So it's just a completely different game. We're looking forward to seeing more and more of the girls' game.
Absolutely.
Now, what have you found with the girls that you're working with, as far as, usually people look back to another sport that they know that helps them understand the sport. What are some of the sports that the girls you're working with look at and say, okay, this is kind of like soccer, this is kind of like hockey in that respect? What are you finding there?
Absolutely. What's so cool about the group of girls that we're working with is a lot of them have a very athletic background, so they're able to themselves tie in elements and relate it back to the sport that they're practicing in the off season. However, I don't try to relate things that we do specifically to a sport. Like I try to stay away from saying this is like hockey, this is like soccer, because I don't want them to get in the habit of playing a lot like soccer, a lot like hockey. Because for instance, in hockey, if I tell them, you're cradling, your hands are like you hold your hockey stick, they're going to start cradling off to the side, and that's a big no-no in women's lacrosse. So I try not to lean towards one way or the other, but yeah, they do a really good job of applying their previous athletic knowledge towards lacrosse, because women's lacrosse ties in so many different sports. Specifically, I like basketball, soccer, and hockey, I would say, are probably the prominent three that it ties in.
Yeah, well, it just helps them give a frame of reference until they start seeing lacrosse in its own right.
It does.
It's kind of like learning a new language. You're still thinking your old language until you really get it down.
For sure.
So, Well, I'm sure you're having a blast with the girls. And
So much.
We're looking forward to seeing it grow more and more.
Absolutely. We have big things to come this fall. We're going to be planning some clinics, some fun things to try out to get more girls involved. But yeah, the biggest thing right now is just recruiting, getting girls to come out, because we've got a really good, solid number here in Sioux Falls. It's just growing those other programs outside of Sioux Falls so we can have teams to play. That's our biggest focus.
Well, in talking with the girls too, one of the advantages in coming on board right now and learning is that everybody's pretty much on an even keel because it's a new sport here. Even though it's been around for a long time in the U.S. and in the United Kingdom, in this area it's still pretty new. So people come in with all have kind of the same basic knowledge and skill level, and
Yeah.
as long as you have some athleticism and a desire to learn.
And that's what's so wonderful about it. I always tell the girls there's so much opportunity in lacrosse. Like myself, I didn't start playing until I was legitimately playing games until I was a junior in high school. And now there's a lot of girls in NCAA who have been playing for, 6 or less years. It's just growing so rapidly. So, it's always a good time to get started.
Yeah, and when you have a girl out here that's 9 or 10 that's starting, you just have to wonder how good are they going to be,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing. The team dynamic is so good here. We have great sportsmanship on our team. With some of the younger girls, the 6, 7, 8-year-olds, they're given a chance to play by the older girls, the high schoolers. They're letting them get the ball, make the pass, transition to the goal, and that's what's cool about working with this big age group. I've worked with other teams with a big age gap, and it's hard for them to all play together, but they all get it. They're working together. They're all learning at the same pace.
Wow. Well, and it's fun to see them continuing to learn more and to take that risk. So, part of what we love about youth sports is it teaches kids to take some risk, take some calculated risk, and to reach out and grab those opportunities that are there and not be afraid of failing. Because if you're ever going to accomplish anything in life, you have to take a chance.
Yes.
And they're taking a chance on a new sport, and we really have to commend them for that. And this is an opportunity for them to be here on the ground level and to be at the forefront of a new movement. So
yeah,
exciting.
Our focus is having fun, getting girls out here, giving them sticks to play with, giving them the materials they need just to get out here and be successful and learn the game.
And I think one of the other benefits has got to be that the parents don't know much about it yet. A lot of sports that you go to, I'm sorry folks, but a lot of sports you go to, as the parents learn more and more about the sport, we tend to think we know more than the referees and the umpires and the officials out there. So at this point, I'm sure a lot of parents are still learning and trying to figure all that out. So that gives the kids a little more freedom.
And the best part is, as they're learning, we can try to coach them in a respectful way to really honor the game that has been kind of lost in a lot of these sports.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to build the sportsmanship in and integrate it throughout everything all the way with the kids and the parents. So.
Yes, for sure.
Well, we're excited for the continued growth and really appreciate you taking time with us. We're looking forward to having you involved here and keeping us a little bit more in the know and helping people understand more about girls lacrosse.
Absolutely, growing the game.
Growing the game together. Thanks, Haley. We'll be right back with This Week in Lacrosse after this message from our sponsors.
Bargain Bites has a huge supply of refurbished electronics. They're a Microsoft authorized refurbisher. Just look at this. Computers as low as $100 and a wide variety of electronics, all so affordable. Look at these deals. A Dell 4-core laptop, fully tested, only $200. A MacBook, fully tested and ready to go, only $200. Subscribe to the Bargain Bites YouTube channel and get all sorts of great tips from super technician Brendan. Bargain Bites, just east of the airport off Benson Road. Visit them today online at bargainbites.net.
Getting recruited by college coaches is more difficult every year. There are thousands of other athletes competing for your position. MyPlayerPage.com is the best place for athletes to showcase their personal and player information. Check us out today at MyPlayerPage.com. Any sport, any athlete, any state, any city, champions all.
Well, welcome back, lacrosse fans. That was really nice visiting with Haley Pratt.
Yes, she is such
what
a
a
great
gem.
resource. Yeah, awesome. I love her.
To be able to, it's really important for us at the Sports 605s that girls be given the opportunity to enjoy all these sports as well. And having a separate lacrosse girls program is kind of where it's going to have to go to a certain extent. You know, it'll still be Sparks Lacrosse right here, and I'm sure, as it is out in Rapid City, Black Hills Lacrosse, but it is a different game.
It is a different game, a different set of skills, and really a different thought process.
Yeah.
Boys can really just go out there with that bull mentality and get by depending what position they're playing. Girls really have to think the game, and they have to have that finesse about them, and there's a lot more grace to it.
Yeah. Well, and we see the same with a lot of the other sports. Hockey, you know, they're both hockey, whether it's boys or girls hockey, men's or women's, but the game is played a little bit differently on the girls' side.
Yeah.
Same with soccer, you know, same field, same basic equipment, but the girls' game is a different game.
Yeah.
And both of them have their own attributes that we all appreciate. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think lacrosse is unique in the fact that the rules of the game, the number of players in the game, and even the equipment is different between men's and girls and boys lacrosse.
It's more different than the other sports in that respect.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you've got women's basketball versus men's basketball. They all have basically the same size court, same size hoop, you know, ball and everything else. But lacrosse is different. So it's going to be an education for us as Haley brings us along and teaches us more and more about that.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So we want to remind everyone that this week in lacrosse is all about lacrosse across the whole state. But if you are a lacrosse program in South Dakota, we want to have an opportunity to visit with you and have you be a part of the show so we can share your good news and what's happening in lacrosse in your area and help get more kids interested and know about what's available. You know, we're here in Sioux Falls. It's easier for us to be here because this is where we live, but we plan to cover the whole state and grow the game in the 605.
In the 605.
We encourage you to continue to LAX. Learn more about it and join us each week. And if you have ideas for the show, you have news for us to share on the show, you can email me, carol@lacrosse605.com, or you can send us a message on Facebook. We do want to encourage you to follow us on Twitter and on Instagram too.
Absolutely.
At lacrosse605. We're out there just sharing pictures, videos, all the stories of lacrosse that we can get our hands on. So we're going to wrap up this week for This Week in Lacrosse. I'm Carol McKee.
I'm Corey Mitchell.
And you are Lacrosse 605.